Man, I just want to first just congratulate you from being here, being part of ALEC around the country, sharing ideas with one another. I just think it's so important. And, ALEC, thank you for advancing limited government, free markets, and federalism all across our country. This is actually my third time to speak to ALEC. I love this organization, and so it's an honor to be back with you this morning. And that was a great introduction. Thank you so much, Senator Daniels. I wish my mom could have heard that. That was so good. But we're so proud of her. She is the floor leader in Oklahoma. She's been a driving force for advancing strong conservative policies in our state. So everything that she mentioned, she was right there with me fighting for. She's been focused on cutting taxes, shrinking government, standing up for Oklahoma's oil and gas industry, and defending these religious freedoms that we talked about. Sounds like my type of patriot, right? And if you remember nothing else about Oklahoma, remember this, that Oklahoma is the most business-friendly, pro-God, limited government, get government out of our lives, freedom-loving state in the entire country. And I know you're going to be the new vice chair coming up, so congratulations on that and leading this great organization, and can't wait to meet the lady from West Virginia as well. I know there's probably a lot of future governors in this room, and my wife and I, Sarah, have served now for 8 years, and we have 6 children, been married 28 years. But when I became governor, I had no idea that it was going to make me a better parent. You see, my 18-year-old son ended up joining the Army. And we went to his swearing in. Thank you. We went to his swearing in ceremony, and when you join the Army, you promise to obey defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And because my 18-year-old son was also joining the Oklahoma National Guard, with his hand in the air, he promises to obey the commands of the governor of the state of Oklahoma. So there you go. You become governor, and it's amazing. But listen, here's the deal. I know you guys all agree with me. We live in the greatest country in the world. And this year we celebrated our 250th anniversary. And it's those conservative values that our founders set out, got us here, and it's those values that will keep us going for the next 250 years. I believe that the American dream is alive and well. It doesn't matter in our country the circumstances of your birth, only about what you're willing to work hard for. Our country, it was built by visionaries, by entrepreneurs, by risk takers, men and women who took responsibility, who believe that if you invested, if you worked hard, and you created value, you should be rewarded. And we celebrate that success in Oklahoma, and we celebrate that success in America. That's the American dream that all of us in this room are here to protect. But right now, our country, it feels more divided than ever. Most people, I believe this, most people really believe in the same things. We all want the best education for our kids. We want safe neighborhoods. We want jobs that pay well. We want to build the life that we want. And I believe most Americans agree with me on that, except maybe let's throw out the far left, right? But I want to challenge all of us in this room, as you are leaders across your state, to lead your communities and not be divisive. I believe America is craving this type of leadership. And we can stand firm on our principles of limited government, lower taxes, without losing sight of what unites us. Our belief in freedom, opportunity, the dignity of work, and the truth that this is still the greatest country in the world. And America needs more elected officials who reflect that truth. People who will stand up for the rights of the people, not special interest groups. We need leaders who are willing to say no to the easy path and yes to the hard work of governing responsibly. In Oklahoma and in every state in this room, we have to balance our budgets, right? Some appropriations chairs in the room going, yeah, I wish I had a little more revenue. We can't print money, but that's exactly what Washington does all the time. Did you know that our national debt now is at $39.6 trillion? And we're still spending $2 trillion over our income. Think about that. We all get a mortgage when we buy our house, and a lot of people put it on a 30-year fixed, right? Anybody? I remember getting my first house, and I bought it. It was right across from TU, and believe it or not, my first house after graduating from Oklahoma State was $66,000, and I had a 30-year fixed on it. I was 26 years old or something, and I wrote my first mortgage payment, and I remember only $48 went towards principal. Can anybody relate to that? And I was like, dadgum. I wrote a $500 check and only $48 goes towards principal. But at least I knew that in 30 years I was gonna own my house at 8th and Harvard, all right? Well, here's why I tell you that. We don't do principal and interest on our national debt. It's interest only. That means you're never paying it off. And every year you put a $2 trillion second mortgage on that debt every single year. Our interest payments just went over $1 trillion. That's more than we spend on our national defense. It is just getting worse and worse and worse. That's why Oklahoma is one of 28 states with a balanced budget amendment trigger law. And if your state hasn't passed it, I encourage you to look into do it. We just had South Carolina pass it this year. So the way the system works, if 34 states, and Ronald Reagan was working on this, 34 states passed a balanced budget amendment, we can put that into our Constitution and force Congress to live within their means. And it has to be ratified by 38 states. That is federalism in action, sending a clear message to Washington that the people are in charge, not the endless borrowing and spending bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. This model of opportunity is very different than other governments around the world. Other governments are controlled systems that we see in places like China. Those systems, decisions are made for the people, not by the people. Opportunity is determined by who you know or how politically you are connected. The state in some of these other countries decide the winners and losers. We cannot let that happen in our country. We certainly cannot let that happen in our states. Federalism is our safeguard against this kind of top-down control. And let me just tell you this, the founders never intended for one city to control the entire country. They believed in laboratories of democracy because they knew that New York was different than Virginia, right? And South Carolina is different than Maryland, and that's okay. The federal government has gotten way too big. They're trying to dictate to our lives and control over our state in Oklahoma. During COVID, when Biden was in office, he was trying to force me to do a mask mandate across our state. I was one of the only governors that refused to do that. You're welcome, Oklahoma. He was trying to force vaccine mandates. And here's what we believe. We don't believe you put your Constitution in the attic just because somebody in Washington, D.C. tells you to. We believe in freedoms in our country. Thank you. Here's the deal. The reason everyone is at each other's throat right now, and there's so much divisiveness in our country, is because we're worried that if Kamala Harris gets elected, she's gonna make Oklahoma like California. We don't wanna be like California. And the Democrats are worried that Donald Trump is gonna try to make Minnesota look like Florida or Texas. That's why we need federalism. There's not a one-size-fits-all for our country as diverse as America. We're geographically diverse, different weather. The economies are different. The jobs are different in Wyoming versus Delaware. So when Washington tries to make Oklahoma look like Vermont or California, they limit the ingenuity of our entire system. When states lead, America succeeds. And when states embrace conservative, free market policies, we're proving over and over again that our ideas don't just sound good, they actually work the best. And that's the spirit we need to bring to every issue, starting with energy. Let me be clear. Energy independence is not just an economic issue. It's literally a national security issue. It's a quality of life issue. It's a freedom issue. When we're energy dominant, we're not begging our adversaries for the fuel and the critical minerals that power our economy. Oklahoma is right at the center of America's energy story. Oklahoma, just a little bit about our state, we're number 6 in oil production. We're number 7 in natural gas production. This might surprise a few people, but we're also number 2 in electricity generated by wind. And so nearly half of our electricity on our grid is produced by renewables. We're one of only 4 states that can say that. It's because of our free market approach. And now Oklahoma is leading in critical mineral production. We are building the first ever aluminum processing plant that's been built in 50 years in the US in Oklahoma. Companies like USA Rare Earth, Blue Whale, Stardust, they're bringing new innovative technology to Oklahoma to onshore our critical mineral needs and reduce our reliance on China. We have built a true energy trifecta with minerals, with oil and gas, and with renewables. And this didn't just happen by accident. It happened because over the last 8 years, we've made different sets of choices. From day one as governor, I said we're gonna make Oklahoma a top 10 state. Everything that we do. And I was gonna take Oklahoma to the world, and I was gonna bring the world back to Oklahoma. And that vision has guided our policies. I just flew in from London yesterday. Got a little bit of jet lag. Every time I visit a new country or meet with an ambassador, and I'm glad the ambassador from Taiwan is here. I've visited your great country. They want to talk about energy. They want to know our energy mix in Oklahoma because they look at states like California. Did you know that the average family in California pays 3 times what we do in Oklahoma? They look at European countries. Listen to this stat. Families are paying up to 18% of their income to heat their homes and to drive their cars, while Americans are paying 2% of our income for those needs. They want to know how we do it. I tell them the same thing. We keep our thumbs off the scale and we let businesses compete to provide for the needs of Americans. And to let those businesses compete, I've been advocating for streamlining permitting so projects can actually get approved and built on time in our country. And let me tell you how business-friendly Oklahoma is. I signed an executive order that said to all my state agencies, if your permits aren't done in 30 days, they're free to the business. Okay? You can take that back to your governors too. Now, 99% of our permits are processed within 30 days. And that means more jobs. That means more families chasing their American dream. And Julie Daniels said it, but as National Governors Association chair, I led a bipartisan group of governors that laid out federal permitting reform so we could accelerate energy infrastructure projects while still maintaining environmental protections. So Williams Companies, it's a huge pipeline company, the largest pipeline company in the world out of Tulsa. And they've been around for over 100 years. Their CEO told me it costs more money for them to permit a project as it does to put the steel in the ground. Think about that. Think about saving your whole life and you're building your dream home. You're building $1 million house. You got your financing, and then the permits cost you as much as it does to build your home. That's what we're doing to the hidden cost to Americans. And it's just unbelievable to me. That's why we need to pass permitting reform this year. Some projects are taking up to 8 years to permit. And I'll tell you this is encouraging for Americans. Republican governors and Democrat governors, we agree on this issue. It takes way too long. Congress is the holdup. Because when Washington tries to control energy from the top down, everybody pays the price. Higher cost, everything costs more. That's not the American way. Ronald Reagan said it this way: government is not the solution to our problems, government is the problem. So in Oklahoma, we're getting government out of the way. I cut $2 billion in taxes. We delivered the largest tax cut in history by cutting also the grocery tax. And what's really important to me, we put Oklahoma on a path to zero. So in the future, as revenue goes up, we're going to be one of those zero income tax states. Because we believe families should keep more of their hard-earned money. Ronald Reagan, my favorite president, described America as a shining city on a hill. That image is not just about policy or taxes. It's about people who are free to dream, free to work, and free to succeed. Federalism, free markets, energy and permitting, it's all part of that shining city. Without it, the lights grow dim. With it, the city shines brighter for the next generation. So let's keep leading our states, let's keep unleashing American energy, and let us keep fighting against federal overreach that threatens our jobs and our security. Because if we stay focused on energy abundance, all of this in the room, and limited government, and on the American dream, I'm confident that the next generation will inherit an America that is stronger, freer, and more prosperous than ever before. Thank y'all so much for being engaged and leading your community. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.